Not here. All right. So the first thing is if you want to select all of something, let's say you had a bunch of things in a file or a folder, you hit Control and then A, and that selects all. So write these down if you happen to be sitting listening somewhere, but not, I highly recommend you get the transcript, not just the show notes from this one, the transcript, so you can write down all these keys and what you can do with them. All right. Control X is cut. And here's something I just never dreamed people that didn't know. If you did cut something, it's still there looking at you until you actually paste it somewhere else. Okay. And the person I was helping kept saying, "Hey, Tom, Control X is not working. Control X is just, Tom, it's not working." And he didn't realize that the item he was cutting was in memory and waiting to be pasted somewhere else. So when he kept saying it wasn't working, I took over his screen on Zoom. Okay, now, first of all, this person is very not computer savvy. So that was an ordeal. I had to actually have him FaceTime with me, which he didn't know how to do. So I had to teach him how to FaceTime. And then he had to hold his cell phone up to his computer screen so that I could get him to Zoom so he could share his screen with me actually, rather than holding his cell phone up to the screen. I mean, I get into some of these situations, folks. It's just crazy. So once I could see his screen, I told him to go somewhere else and paste the item that he was trying to cut. And that's when it disappeared from where he cut it. He didn't really have a grasp of the concept of that item being in memory, waiting for his next move. So when you cut something, it's always where it's at until you put it somewhere else. Okay. Now, the next thing that should be obvious is that you have to highlight what you want. Or highlight also means select. So you have to tell the computer what piece of item you want to cut or copy or paste, whatever it is, say. So basically, you put your mouse cursor at the beginning of what you want to select and drag across it, which brings me to another thing hardly anybody knows. Okay. Now, I know you've all been in this situation. Let's say you want to highlight or select an exact piece of text. And every time you drag your cursor over the text, it either goes too far or not enough. Now, I've watched people try to highlight something 15 or 20 times, trying to get it exactly where they want it to go, and they let up on the mouse and it would be too short or too long, and they're just so frustrated. So I just sat back and watched them because they didn't know that some of you may not know that all they had to do was to get the highlight close to where they wanted, whether it was past it or before, it doesn't matter. Then you hold the shift key down and hit either the right or left arrow to move the highlight to the right or to the left, one space at a time. It's amazing, right? Whoa, Tom's a genius. No, these are just things that I took the time to learn 20 years ago. And just think of like that person 15 or 20 times and never got the thing highlighted right, and spent minutes and minutes on something that should take literally seconds. All right. So you add that up over 20 years of messing with stuff like this. And this is just one example. And that's all the rest of the time I'm selling stuff and making products and keeping customers happy and all that stuff. See? So there you go. And I'll just say you're welcome now for telling you that right now. Okay. So that was Control X is cut. Now, that's where if you want to take something from one place and move it somewhere else or get rid of it. I mean, if you just want to get rid of it, you just hit delete on it and it would put it in your, recycle bin, and it still wouldn't be deleted until you empty your recycle bin. But anyway,